Hey guys, welcome back to season 2 of the Boss Queens with Voices podcast. I'm your host, the Advice Queen, and today I'm joined by my friend and business owner, Aicha. Aicha is the owner of UNUM Consultants and co-owner of Creed Music Global, is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, so first of all, I'm going to ask you a few questions if you don't mind, but we'll kick off with, how did you get into the music industry?
Okay, how I got into the music industry, it really was, I wouldn't say accident. What it was, I was going to a lot of parties and dances and stuff like that, and I used to go in there and look at the dynamics and be like, there's the selector that plays the music, he gets paid. There's the person that goes to the event and enjoys themselves. There's the promoter that gets paid, the artist that get paid. Everyone more or less gets paid, apart from obviously the patron that's coming in to pay. And I just felt like I didn't want to be the patron. I wanted to also get paid. So I looked at the dynamics within that structure and said, how can I do that? And at the time there was a guy there called Mikey Versace.
Yeah.
He was running a magazine called Club Vibes, and I was like to him, you know, I wanna write for the magazine and try and build up my contacts and stuff, and he gave me a shot. Bearing in mind, prior to this, I'd also extensively had been like writing for all different magazines. Touch, Tense, was among the founding members of Rewind magazine. That used to be SAS magazine. I was also there, so I was always in the capacity of writing. So in around 2005, writing the magazines and stuff like that, and in 2006, myself and my business partner, Cara, we was introduced by Mikey to a guy called Tubby Reds, and he had an event and he wanted to bring artists over to the UK and stuff like that. And so basically just started from there. The first show that we did was with Assassin, Spragga Benz. It was our Red Square Promotions. We organised the event, helped do the work permits and visas, and sorted out the logistical side of the events. And it just stemmed from there, like doing different events in Stratford Rex, bringing Busy Signal, all these different amazing artists. And then we basically just built up our network, or net worth.
Net worth,
Yeah. And started like liaising with the artist management, and it just kind of like morphed from just events to assisting artists with little bits and pieces and stuff like that. So that's like the origins, I would say, of me getting into it. Yeah.
And when was that?
So from like about 2004, 2006. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm old. Yeah.
So you've been in the industry for about 15 years then?
Yeah.
Give and take.
Yeah.
Okay. So you said that you know, it was something that just organically happened in a sense. Then.
Yeah.
It wasn't something that you sort of went out there to.
I would say it organically happened, but like I said, in the structure of being in the dance, and I didn't want to be like, you know, back then, if you were known, you were able to get into an event for free. Your name would get called on the mic, but I wanted more than just because I'm known. I wanted to add value, and adding value, like I said, it was the magazine. I approached Mikey at the time. I was like, look, you know, please, and he gave me that shot to write magazines, and it, like I said, from 2006, it moved from there, and then that's when I met Mikey Jake's Tel Aviv family, and consistently for the next, from about 2008 up until about 2012, we organised all the events that he did, and then other pockets of promoters around that situation.
Okay, So in getting into that industry in a sense, then, because you said you was given a shot by Michael Versace, was you said?
Yeah.
And obviously he gave you that shot. He believed in you. Do you think that you faced any sort of like barriers, challenges in going forward with what you wanted to do in the sense of being a music consultant, stroke business consultant? Do you think that there was any barriers as a female in the industry?
Well, at the time, I think I was lucky to say that that wasn't Mikey's
area.
Yeah, kind of like what he wanted out of the situation. The situation was he wanted to be someone who owned the biggest dancehall magazine, which at that time it was extremely rare in the UK to own a publication. So because that was his drive and dedication, that never came into the forefront of the situation, and therefore nobody, because they had the respect for him, nobody approached me at that angle.
I get what you're saying.
Do you get what I'm saying? Like, maybe if it in the back of his mind he said, well, and as well he paid me, so it wasn't like I can maybe get a writer for free, let me sleep with her, or let me try. So I never had that situation. And again with Mikey Jakes, it was never that situation. It was always trying to bring artists here. So I think in that respect, I feel like we had a lucky kind of like, well, my experience was a bit more easier in terms of being a woman in the industry. I feel like at that time we were not respected based on the fact that we was doing this thing. We was respected on the fact of the men was around us.
He was doing it for
if I would have to say from that point of view, then yeah. And even moving into the shows that we kind of like did with Rick Ross, French Montana, Ashanti, all these massive shows with did the logistics for Davido, Wizkid, Little Cash, all that kind of stuff. That wasn't there, so to speak.
The barrier wasn't there.
Yeah, no.
So so moving past sort of like the barriers on, let's say, what would we say that? Well, that was like your stepping stone into the music industry. What else apart from sort of, doing the major shows? What else do you do in terms of when you say being a music consultant? What does Creed Global UK do?
So there's 3 people in the company at the moment, and we kind of like have pulled our resources together to link specifically with artists, and do stuff like management, but more internal management. So we only manage one artist in particular. That is up and coming artist named Manifa. All the other artists, we manage more their internal operations. So their day-to-day, what needs to be posted, you know what I'm saying, trying to get brand activation.
Sort of the marketing side of it then.
Marketing, but more like linking brands to brands, getting situations and stuff sorted out, like just the organization. So on the music side, there's the external brand, what people can see, obviously, and then there's the internal, so all the paperwork, the splits, the publishing, distribution deals, brand endorsement deals, all these little things that go on within the management side and structure, and just education as well, because we equally believe that it's so important, especially in this genre of dancehall, that there's not enough people or practitioners within the industry that educate back. It's very important. They don't give back through education. It's one thing to have all the money in the world, but if you don't have knowledge and education of what you're doing, does it even really equate to even making sense? Because you're not gonna necessarily make correct decisions in what it is that you're doing. So that's kind of like the stuff that we do. Try and like in a nutshell, but it is very intense, like day to day. So we have like key artists that we work with right now, and that is our main focus is getting them organized and to a point to where if they're not already international, because some of them are internationally known, but get them to the next level on a more organized, structural way, kind of.
Okay, so I didn't hear you mention that you're managing, was it Manifa?
Yeah.
So I don't know if you're able to speak about it. I'm not going to go too much into it, but in terms of managing Manifa, do you think that there's any barriers for her into the music industry?
Yeah.
Or do you think it's based off just her pure talent, or a specific way that she needs to look, or because obviously if you're managing her, then you sort of put the whole package together for you to put her out to the public, isn't it? So from the aspect of being a music consultant, a woman in the music industry yourself, being a music consultant, and then also having a new and upcoming artist, how do you think that fits in terms of being a woman then, if that makes sense?
Yeah, because I was going to say that like an experience of someone that more works in like my side of the industry, I believe is a different experience from a woman working as an artist, because there's that level of exploitation which it's not impossible, but it's extremely hard to exploit someone like me in this industry. What are you going to exploit? What are you trying to take? What are you trying to gain? Apart from, getting a few services for free.
Yeah.
But in terms of an artist, like someone like Manifa, who is very talented, and there's other artists that are female, not specifically just Manifa, but females in general, that they have had certain experiences in the industry that has undermined them as a woman, and them because second guessing themselves, because they are a woman, or everything is sexual, this, that, and whatever. Why can't I just go in the studio, do my work, and leave? Why does it have to be about X, Y, Z? You know. To be fair with Manifa, I've just like recently just taken on the situation with her. So I'm not really sure of her experiences, so to speak.
So in general terms, then let's take her out of the equation, because obviously I just asked that question because obviously from a management sort of somebody in the industry from a management point of view. But in general, then from what you've seen or what you've been exposed to or experienced along the way, and if you have, I don't know if you have, but have you ever sort of sat back as a music consultant and thought to yourself that this particular female wasn't reaching to her,
fullest
potential, but then there was this female. You don't have to mention names because that's not what we're about. We're just trying to understand how the music industry works, and if it's a rough place for women, or has it become more liberalized, or
I mean, I myself to answer your question, I have been in a situation, so to speak, where I just felt I was on tour and I was maybe a bit out of my depth as a tour manager, or quote unquote tour manager, and I was around people that their first language was not English, but that wasn't really the problem. It was more, I felt like as a woman, even though I stood as firm as I could on behalf of the artist, I felt like I was undermined because I was a woman.
Because you was a woman.
Yeah, if I was a man, certain situations that happened during those 2 weeks would not have happened. Do you get what I'm saying?
An example of one. As I said, you don't have to call any names. But just give us an example of one situation that you might have felt like you was undermined as a woman being.
I felt in a very it was a very vulnerable situation. Obviously, the artist said no, she has to be here, and I think because of that, the promoter felt like, why am I paying for this extra person? And he did pay for the tickets and whatever, but it was always a difficulty, and I've never felt so overwhelmed, because I mean, we're traveling the whole of Europe from Turkey to here, there. So I felt very if I was a man, would he be disrespecting me like that?
Okay. So you did.
It would have. So I felt so vulnerable and out of my depth. Like, but in terms of like situations where I've worked with certain artists in the past as females, yes, they've had to go in the studio. Yes, this person's trying to look them or trying to be with them or this, that, and the other. And I know that it exists, is very prevalent. And there was a conversation that was mentioned about this the other day, on Clubhouse, about situations like that, and there was like, oh, we need to call them out, and the industry needs to know who these people are that are doing this to these women. But like I said, it's not about calling out.
No.
It's about knowing who these people are and reporting them to the police.
Okay.
Do you get what I'm saying? There's no calling out,
because in a sense they're predators.
They're predators. Like if you was in an environment with children and a man did something to a child, you wouldn't be calling them out, so to speak.
Yeah.
Either you'd kill them or you'd call the police or call the police. So that's my mentality behind it. But yeah, it exists, you know, and I'm not saying like, oh, I feel like I've been very blessed that I haven't had any real experiences to where I've sat down and said, oh, I wish I wasn't a woman, or if I was a man. I feel like I've said many times, when I step in the room and I'm in work mode, 90% of the people in the room know that it's work. No matter how much I smile or certain things, they know that Aicha is here to work. So there's certain things that would never, they would be like, it would just be weird for you to ask me for my number to discuss anything that was what, like,
but you're not giving off that signal.
I'm not giving off those signals, and I think
you don't need to, because you're in your power. You know what you're doing. You know you've got something to offer as in terms of a service. You know, so you're not really in the other shoe in a sense as being the artist, where the artist is trying to be recognized or be recorded or whatever. You're in the other position where you are the person that's sort of saying, yeah, that sounds like a good person that you can, you know, invest in or whatever. So you're on the other side of the spectrum 100%. In a sense. So,
and what I've said to people as well, from my point of view, I've used being a woman to my advantage to get things that most men would never have been able to get into the opportunities or get into the doors that I've had being a woman.
Okay, so you're saying from your angle, again, as being a consultant in the music industry, you're able to use your power as a woman to get through. Yeah. That's very interesting. So it's like, because you've got something to offer as in a service, and which is a tangible service, you know, and it's, you know, as you said, you've got a proven track record. On top of it, because you're a woman, you're able to get that little bit further than what a man.
Yeah, a man can't sit down and smile with a man and be like, I can make this happen for you. Yeah. Whereas a female can.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
And it's plausible. A man does that, they're like, ooh, you know?
There's more of a clash of egos with men.
Yeah.
As a woman, you know, you're coming through strong, you're coming through with the knowledge, and then obviously you're doing a little pretty smile and everything. So it's like, you know, okay, I'll meet with you. I've been with you a few instances where things like that have happened where, you know, we've been able to
I'm just trying to get it together.
You know, slide through. You know, security.
Yeah, security, all that stuff as a woman. Like, and so once you understand your power and what it is that you possess, I'm not saying exploit it to the point where it goes into another level. But understand the power that we have as females, as women, and use that as an opportunity to get through those doors.
And I think that's why when, you know, going back to the music industry and females, I think probably, I'm not going to say this goes right across the board for all females, but I would imagine that females that were already in their power, in a sense of, I know who I am, I know the kind of music I want to produce, I know I'm good in my own right, you know, whatever the full package is. You might not have the money to be the full package, but you know, you're kind of like standing firm in your power, like, this is who I am, and I'm going to sing this way, and I'm going to do this. So I guess that for them, they probably have less of that sort of turmoil or trauma or whatever you want to call it, where facing men in the industry in the sense of being exploited or whatsoever, because they not to say that they won't be exploited or can't be exploited, but I'm saying, do you think that a man more sees that, you know what, this empress is more in her power, she's not looking for quick fame, she's not looking for quick recognition, she knows who she is, she's in that, you understand what I mean? I don't want to call any females names in the industry, but I mean, let's just use like Coffee as an example. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? She came into the industry totally different than the norm, and I'm not going to say totally different from the norm, because there's a lot of wonderful, wicked female artists that are kind of like in her realm, but I'm saying because she came fresh, she was a youngster, like she was just determined, innit? Like determined in the sense of, you know what, this is what I am, innit? I didn't get through school, I didn't get through college, but music is my passion, innit?
Yeah, she didn't use her sexuality.
She didn't use her sexuality.
And that's what makes it, what makes her so unique.
That's what I'm saying.
And I feel like, unfortunately, in this facade of entertainment, a lot of the time, females feel that's the only way.
Is to be sort of like explicit.
Yeah, and so it was refreshing. To see. It gave hope. It gave, and it allowed people to focus on, even young artists do that, but...
No, I'm saying, I suppose because she was also young, that, with
that
so whole freshness, she sort of like mixed the reggae with the sort of like, the European sort of, you know what I mean? So she came with something fresh, as you said, and she didn't come boasting with her sexuality, or she didn't, have to have her hair a certain way.
And you shouldn't have to,
do you understand what I mean?
To me, you shouldn't have to affirm anything outside of your career and what it is that you're doing.
100%.
It's not necessary.
That's not what it is. Exactly.
It's not needed. Do you understand? Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying if a woman feels that her power is her sexuality, that she's going to use it and exploit it to her maximum potential. Like, on the flip side, you have Cardi B. That is how she feels to express herself.
She was already exploiting herself in a sense, because obviously she came from a dancing background. So in a sense, she was already exploiting herself. So she found a more comfortable way to exploit herself and a more profitable way to exploit herself.
And it's not just about, for me, it's not just about exploitation as well. It's expression, and in art
that's what I was going to say. So I was going to say, with her, I would say that, no, when I say that she came from, obviously when you're dancing, you might think, so most of the time we know that dancers do it because shit's real and we've got to pay bills, we've got, I don't condemn anybody that wants to do it, because if shit got real with me and I was in that state of mind, I have to do what I have to do to make sure my kids are alright, my family's alright, so I'm not knocking her on that, but I'm saying, because she was already being exploited in a sense, so she's out there dancing trying to make a living, innit? But people are exploiting her. You understand? Because obviously that's what you're doing, innit? You're exploiting a young, pretty lady, dancing on the pole, whatever, you can throw a few bucks at her, whatever the case may be. In her case, I don't know what the case, but I'm saying in the general, in terms of dancing, it's a whole world of exploitation, innit? So I'm saying she's used that to her advantage now to come into the music industry, so she's expressing herself on a daily basis, innit? Of, this is who I am, I'm a dancer. So if she's doing a twerk video, or she's just literally expressing the person that she is, innit? So it's not a good and it's not a bad thing, do you understand? Because it depends on how you take it, innit? Because if you only take the negative connotations out of what she does, then you only see the negative from it, if that makes sense. But if you put a positive aspect, like what I'm saying, in the sense of, she was already being exploited, in it, but now she's taken control of that exploitation, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and used it to work in her favour.
As you said, use it to work in her favour. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
But then we have to also, it's hard to do, but we have to kind of like understand art for what it is. And it's the expression of self. It's the expression of things around you. You know what I'm saying? And so within that, it's what she's doing wrong. No, because there's people out there that's doing it. She's just expressing. And this is like, art shouldn't be something that you kind of like have to cap
or put sexuality or whatever
or
on
put
it.
whatever you, if you don't like it, switch off. You don't have to follow her. You don't have to or consume her music. You don't have to, like, because that's the argument now, not to stray too over that side, too much over that side. But for me, I just feel like we all have choices.
Yeah, we do all have choices. That is very correct. But then again, I do have to disagree with you a little bit on that. Why I'm going to say that is because who I am today is not who I was 20 years ago. So the Esther that I am today as a mature woman is not the Esther that I was when I was in my early 20s or my teens. So we can be able to say, we can pick, choose, refuse what we take from Cardi B, switch her off, whatever, but we have to think about the youths. Do you understand? So in that sense, it does, because if you're young and you don't really understand yourself, you don't really see the full picture of the Cardi B's and the Kim Kardashians or whatever. You just see the portrait of them, if that makes sense. You just see the image. Does that make sense? You don't see what came back.
Yeah, but then again, like what, and I'm generalizing because we can't say that everyone has parents that will be able to monitor
or
the
police
content
or whatever,
monitor whatever is being consumed in the home or even outside the home. But I would like to think that to a certain degree there is still a level of choice.
In life, that's why we're human. That's why human beings are the only species that operate how we do, because we are the only species in the whole planet that have choice. Do you understand what I mean? Everything else runs in an order. We have free will and free choice. That's why obviously people are going to make, in what maybe in other people's eyes, mistakes. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So it is a choice, but that's just like saying, I won't even say it, but everything is a choice, isn't it? But as I said, in order to make an informed choice, you have to be of sound mind. Yeah? Our children at certain age, not all, but majority. It's just like when people say, if hip hop music and drill music and all them kind of music is attributed to gang violence and that. And a lot of people are going to jump up and say, no, it's not, because you choose and, you pick, choose, even reggae music, you pick, choose and refuse what you're supposed to, but it still does penetrate the mind. And it penetrates the mind of the weak, because obviously if you're in your power, you're of right, you understand what I'm trying to say, your right senses, it's just music, isn't it? Do you understand what I'm trying to say? But if you are young, not of sound mind, many different aspects, isn't it? Because not everybody, that's the thing that I'm getting to understand, isn't it? Like, not everybody thinks like me, innit? So where you would just think, that's just normal, innit? That you should just know it's just music, it's just a movie, or it's just, that doesn't go for everyone, because people, they are idols, they're role models. They didn't choose to be these things, because I'm sure she didn't choose to be in a case of Cardi, she probably didn't choose to be a role model. She just thrown into that because she has millions of followers. But you still have to kind of, I'm not saying that you have to live and conform your life to what society wants.
And this is why, it's good to talk to people, because at the end of the day, when it comes to music, I do not view music or entertainment in the way that most people would. I purely look at it from a business sense.
But
understanding.
You can do, because you're an adult.
No, not even the adult part. That's where my career has taken me.
Yeah.
So for instance, where like the average person would listen to a song and like the song because of the beat or because of the artist, where how I operate, I would break it down. Is the mix right? Is the this right? Is that right? Has this been done? Has the master?
I get that. So you're saying,
so I no longer look.
No, I get what you're saying. So you're like a television producer.
Yeah.
Watching a show and just critiquing everything about the show. You're not really watching the show in a sense.
And I'm sure producers will probably attest to this when they sit down and watch the movie.
I've seen people do that.
Yeah,
even my own daughter, I've seen her do that.
Yeah, she probably doesn't even.
She's like, who thought of this script?
Yeah.
And, oh my god, this doesn't go with this, and so I understand what you're saying in that sense.
So you break it down now from a business point of view, and so when you break it down from a business point of view, there's only a wrong way and a right way according to business.
I get you.
What makes money, what doesn't, what makes sense, what doesn't.
Exactly, and that's why I'm saying that in a sense it could be seen as positive or it can be seen as negative.
100%.
Because in the negative aspect of it, not like I'm just trying to be negative, but in the negative aspect of it, just as we know that when we were growing up, it was always like music, sport, like they didn't want us to be anything else in it. So that's why I'm saying it could have a negative, not in the sense of her twerking, or twerking has been something that we've been doing for thousands of years. We didn't just start twerking today. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? It's part of our culture. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I'm talking more in the sense of young girls not aspiring to be more than probably like, strippers, dancing girls, influencers. Do you understand that kind of thing? So I'm not saying that, I'm not bashing her like to say in the sense of how she, carries herself. That's up to her, because she, she might carry herself a certain way and we're here judging her thinking, and she might be more in tune with herself than many. Does that make sense? So I've stopped judging people on your appearance or how you dress, if you want to, because it's art, and it's an expression of yourself, innit? So if you want to dress every day naked, when I say naked, obviously like, you know what I mean, there's tasteful naked and there's just like, oh girl, just get off the internet. But yeah, you can express yourself in many forms. So I'm not bashing her in the sense I'm saying that. I'm just saying in the sense of, get rich quick, sort of. So then, we're not producing lawyers and doctors.
But that's the culture though, the get rich quick solution,
Because that's what they sell to us, isn't it?
Yeah. And I think it's about you just educating the people around you that that's not the way. And I think particularly that's why it brings me back to saying like knowledge within the business is equally as important as gaining income or having money, because knowledge is power. Like when I used to sit down and hear people say knowledge is power, it's not until I actually entered into the music industry that I realized that knowledge is power, because it's like puppets on a string. Those that have the power use it to their advantage to exploit and to take advantage of. And I think that was one of the reasons why we decided to come together and build Creed Music, because if we say that we love something and we're passionate about something, not only are we passionate about the culture of the music, but the country, Jamaica itself, the people they're in, like we just want empowerment. And being that music is integral to the island, it's important. Like it would just be a injustice if I was to die with the knowledge that I have. Forget about how many houses that I can build and buy in Jamaica, and how much cars I can have here and there, and how much times I can fly. If you're not passing these knowledgeable information that I have about the business and what I'm still learning, I'm passing it on so that people can benefit in. What good are you? What are you doing to what are you doing for humanity? And so even today I was saying, like, from a passionate point of view, like I've stayed within this industry, within this genre for a reason. I've listened to hip hop, I've written magazines, interviewed Angie Stone, D'Angelo, so much different artists, Rick Ross, all these different artists, UK artists, this, that and the other, but my affinity always lies within Jamaica and uplifting. It's so powerful to know that you're able to empower people. It's about having a level of not just empowerment, but knowing that
they're able to
ownership
help themselves and own their own rights
is
to their,
so key.
you know, certain things, and be able to monetize off their music that they're putting out there. And
there's so many different ways that you monetize, not just by distributing a song. You know, you get into the publishing side of things, the sync that goes into that, the mechanical
royalties. Too much away here, because you know we're coming back with, you know, we've got 2 more episodes. You know, so don't give too much away there. You can, you know, we're gonna get to that part of where, you know, you're talking about
monetization
and the strategy and how, you know, that those kind of things. So, you know, but I do get your passion. I understand your passion. I've seen your passion, because, you know, I've seen you at this tirelessly for years.
Sometimes we get disrespected, we get laughed at, we get overlooked, but you still have to, I think the key ingredient is consistent. And even if there's a person that I met recently within the last year, and he's been like instrumental in my life in terms of giving income. And he runs his name's Louis. He runs a company called We Are Global, and we've been doing the activations with Jada Kingdom, Senshia, with Pretty Little Thing.
I've seen that.
And he also has done other amazing stuff. And he says the truth is the truth, you know. Whether you like it or not, or don't like it, you have to respect it.
You have to respect it.
You understand? And that's the same thing in terms of who you are once you've reached what you feel is, they call it when you go to university, master, for a reason. It's not the master to own or to have control over people, but it's that you've reached a certain level of your knowledge where you have the right to have certain conversations. You have the right to be valued as a person. Yeah,
well, that was of old. I mean, that's another topic that I'm gonna talk about. I get what you're saying. Is like you're saying you're a master now because you have gained the knowledge.
I've done over 20 years in this.
So I would in terms of the music industry. So I know your master's in something totally different anyway. It's in human rights, isn't it?
Yeah.
But in terms of the music industry, I would say you've gained a master's anyway.
Because
you have put in the work. So whether you've been sitting in the lecture rooms with the university professors or whatever, you've put in the work. You know what you're talking about. You know where you're going. And
so you don't have to like me, but you have to respect it.
You have to respect and put the, you know, as you said, put the respect. And, you know, also the other day, I did see that you done something with Sizzler.
Yeah, we did. So it was the Mixer. It was a live streaming event with Sizzler, and that was funny in itself because a lot of people said that it would never happen.
That was during the pandemic.
Yeah, pandemic last year, August. They've just played it on stage because we did it in collaboration with On Stage. There's another company integral in allowing that to even happen. They invested over £20,000 into that project. That was Dice Recordings. They are managers for Big Nasty. And then
mentioning Big Nasty, you also worked with Big Nasty. Yeah, I remember I was with you in that.
And Spice, we did some. And BBC and Channel 4.
So guys, you know, she's somebody that knows what she's talking about. She's been in the industry for, as I said, you know, well over 15 years. You know, and still in the industry, still, you know, championing to have, you know, the artists have their rights, you know, in terms of, you know, knowing how to monetize off their, you know, recordings, how to own their masters and all that kind of stuff. So we are going to be hosting another episode together, talking about,
because we didn't actually talk about what we were
No, but that's fine, because sometimes it's good to let people know who you are, where you're coming from. Because at the end of the day, it's about building integrity, innit? It's not about just rushing in, you know. We've got the whole year, we're not doing anything.
Yeah, 100%.
We are, but I'm saying, like, you know, it doesn't take much to sit down and, you know, let people know what you're up to and what you're doing. Do you understand? And I think it is valuable in a sense of what we're doing in terms of, you know, this sister sort of empowerment. This is what this season's about.
And that's another thing, like 100%. I don't know. if there's a reason why we don't approach each other as sisters enough. But I, for one, never turn anyone down. Like, I will always give the opportunity. Obviously, I've kind of like had to, in the past year or so, where things are getting more organized, more structured. But still, it takes nothing to ask a question. There's always someone that is willing to answer.
Exactly.
If you don't know. Like, I never forget, like, my mum used to always say to me, if you don't know, put up your hand. And it might seem like you're in a class, for instance, and you're putting up your hand more than the average person. But guess what? You're going to learn. And then guess what as well? Not only are you going to learn, you might be teaching that person that is afraid next to you to put up their hand.
So that's what it's about.
100%.
So, you know, that is exactly what it's about. So being a voice for those who also don't have a voice. So, you know, as you said, within your industry, you know, if you're able to like be that female that you can say, you know, I'm open. But it's having platforms like this, because when people just see you from the exterior, they don't really know. They don't know how to take you, because, you know.
And they don't even know what you're doing, and then they might just meet you for one day. They don't realize that you've put in all this work. That you've asked 1,000 different people for help, and you said no. And then there might be companies like Island Strain, and you know what I'm saying, Chris Alvarez, and all these different people that I've met along the way that have assisted my growth. And not only do they assist my growth, but they've also built me as a person in terms of my confidence and me knowing that I can actually do this. And in that respect, it's not really a man or woman thing, it's a humanity thing, because there are people out there that actually want you to do or be your best you.
Obviously, definitely. But yeah, guys, that was another great episode. We're joined with my friend Aicha. So, again, if you like this episode, if you like the content, please do like, subscribe, share, follow us on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and all podcast channels. And guys, please do tune in next week, and where we'll be giving you a few more insights into, you know, the female, what would you call it, female empowerment.
Yes.
Yeah, so take care, guys, and
all right,
see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.